Do you know the tastiest way to slice a cabbage? The secret is to slice along its fibrous veins, into uniform 0.88mm strips. This is the only way to perfectly lock in its sweetness and flavor. But for a master chef like Komatsu, this is just another day at the office. And so, Komatsu challenged the acting master of the Shokorin temple. The moment Komatsu picked up his knife, his mind had already automatically mapped out every single cut. The match begins. At an astonishing speed of 30 cuts per second, Komatsu frantically slices the vegetable. The shredded cabbage piled up like a mountain. His movements were so fast they were impossible to follow with the naked eye. However, his opponent finished the entire thing in less than 10 seconds. Komatsu was utterly stunned. The acting master pointed out that while Komatsu's technique was fast, it was full of wasted motion. Once he mastered food honor, his speed would far surpass what it is now. And with that, Komatsu lost the match. According to the rules of the competition, both Komatsu and Toriko would get no dinner tonight. But for Toriko, missing a single meal is a matter of life and death. He tearfully begged the acting master for just a little food. The master was quite generous, handing Toriko a pair of 5-meter-long chopsticks. Toriko tried for what felt like an eternity, but couldn't manage to pick up a single bean. In the end, the two could only go to sleep hungry. Before the sun was up, they were taken to their pre-meal training. If they could clear their minds and keep the mysterious grass torch burning for 3 minutes, they would be allowed to have breakfast. However, Toriko's mind was too full of distractions. Not only did he blow out his own torch, he caused Komatsu's to go out as well. A task that should have taken 3 minutes ended up taking them 3 whole hours. Finally, it was time for breakfast. The acting master pointed to a rice jar, telling them to help themselves. This rice was a special egg rice, and the shell of each grain was incredibly fragile. If even one were to break, it would set off a chain reaction, shattering all the others. However, just as Toriko was about to put the rice in his mouth, his hand slipped. At this point, Komatsu and Toriko hadn't eaten for 2 full days and nights. The acting master gave them 2 magical seeds. These were the seeds of a rose ham. He explained that if they planted the seeds and watered them with a grateful heart, a ham flower would bloom. But Komatsu and Toriko's gratitude was clearly not sincere enough. After waiting for 2 days and 2 nights, the seed finally sprouted. Just then, the acting master reappeared, and threatened in a sinister tone. If they didn't make it grow longer, they would never eat again. The two immediately sat down, and began watering and praying with even more devotion. Finally, at high noon, the ham flower bloomed magnificently. As the two were celebrating, a sandwich monarch butterfly fluttered by. This type of butterfly feeds on ham flowers. Before Toriko could even get a taste, the butterfly had already eaten a petal. To make matters worse, it called over 2 of its friends. Toriko was completely enraged. With all his might, he swung his hand in a knife chop towards the butterfly. What happened next was beyond anyone's imagination. His full power strike actually sliced a 100-story pagoda clean in half. This man rips off his earring and drips the liquid inside onto a vine. Instantly, the vine loses all its moisture, shriveling up and becoming dry. He then slings the withered vine over his shoulder, preparing to squeeze out the world's very last drop of century soup. As he pulls on the vine with all his might, the ancient ice that has slept for tens of thousands of years begins to condense. The gourmet showcase shatters completely, and a 5-colored aurora shoots up into the sky. This signals the final guest of the gourmet showcase. Who will be the chosen one? Everyone holds their breath, their eyes fixed on that single, precious drop. In the end, it was Komatsu who was chosen. However, before Komatsu could even celebrate, the gourmet cells within Toriko and Match suddenly went berserk, causing them to lose all reason. Fortunately, the reviver Teppei appeared just in time to stop them. Komatsu pleaded with everyone, asking them to entrust the final drop of soup to him. He swore that he would perfectly recreate the true flavor of the century soup. The moment Komatsu made his vow, the drop of century soup began to glow even more brilliantly. The next second, Komatsu drank it all in one gulp. Its taste was simply beyond words, so delicious it made him forget himself in an instant. Komatsu couldn't wait any longer. He had to replicate this flavor immediately. Back in the kitchen, he gathered all the most exquisite ingredients. Among them were even ingredients that willingly came forward, asking to be added to the soup. Komatsu carefully selected them, placing them into the pot one by one. After countless rounds of filtering and purifying, the soup finally became as clear as crystal, reaching the same level as the legendary Chef Acacia. It's worth noting that it took Chef Acacia 30 long years to reach this stage. Komatsu eagerly scooped up a spoonful of the soup, and took a taste. It was indeed delicious, but compared to the real century soup, it still seemed to be missing one final, crucial ingredient. What could that final ingredient be? As Komatsu pondered this puzzle, the little penguin quietly snuck into the kitchen. The rich aroma of the soup made the little penguin's mouth water uncontrollably. At that very moment, the 5-colored aurora once again filled the entire room. Komatsu quickly scooped up a spoonful, and took a taste. That final, crucial ingredient was actually